Oh, I know someone's gonna get pissed off at this video. It's about that time of year once again, ladies and gentlemen. As 2024 is nearing its end, it is time to rank some video games that released this year. This video will go over all the games that I played that released in 2024. Before we get into this ranking, all of these placements on the list is based off my opinion and how much I enjoyed the game. There's games where you may love that I wasn't a big fan of, or there may be games that I loved that you may not have been a big fan of. Also, I obviously didn't get to play every game that released this year. It comes down to either being too busy and not having enough time with it, or I just wasn't interested in the game. Some of the bigger games I didn't get to play were Black Myth Wukong, Game of the Year itself, Astrobot, Black Ops 6, Tekken 8, Space Marine 2, Zenless Zone Zero, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Concord. There's more that I haven't played, but those were some of the bigger ones I missed out on. There are some I want to hopefully get to eventually, but I think we still have a decent list of 12 games. A lot of the games on this list I have a review for on the channel, so if you're at all interested in my full thoughts on a specific game, I'll have all the reviews I did for this year in the description down below. But with that, let's get into the ranking. Oh boy, coming in at last place for me in number 12 is Helldivers 2, and I just lost all of my subscribers. Okay, this game may be in last place for me, but that doesn't make it a bad game at all. I actually had some fun with it when I did play it, but I got bored of this game very quickly. When this came out, everybody was playing it, and everyone was talking about it. Everyone was saying it's so good that I needed to play this game. So I gave into peer pressure, so I did play it. It was I'm gonna be honest, this game just isn't for me. I don't tend to play games like these very often because I get bored of them pretty fast. I know a lot of people love this game, and that's great. It's just the game wasn't for me. The couple games I did play, they were decent fun, but I quickly dropped it. So that's why it's my number 12 spot. Please don't fucking kill me in the comments. Coming in at number 11 for me is the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake. You guys know that I'm way more of a Sonic fanboy than I am a Mario fan. Nothing against Mario, but I don't tend to play most of his games other than a handful. But I was pretty interested in this remake because I've always heard it was one of Nintendo's best games. And plus it was an RPG, so why not? I mentioned in my review of the game that I only played the original game once and never beat it, so there was like no nostalgia bias at all going into this. It was a pretty good time overall. I thought the art style that made everything look like it was made out of paper was very awesome and very pleasant to look at. The areas of the game were very gorgeous to look at. The characters in the game were pretty good for a Mario game and legit funny. There were multiple times I was actually laughing. The gameplay was pretty fun and unique too. The battle system had a lot going on, but it was still fun, and I loved how the game lets you pick what stats to increase when you're leveling up. You always get new abilities like turn it into a paper boat or a paper airplane, or just a sheet of paper. I still don't get that. Like, I'm already paper. All these abilities made backtracking actually good, because you could find new paths and secret items. The soundtrack, though, is pretty forgettable, I'm not gonna lie. It's not bad, but there isn't a single track that I remember from the game after completing it, and I thought Bowser himself was very lame in the game. I was not a fan how they handled him at all. The game tended to have a good amount of padding just to make the game longer, which got very annoying after a while. And the game does get repetitive by endgame. But overall, it was just a fun RPG to play. Like, nothing too crazy, but I had a good amount of fun with it. Coming in at number 10 on the list is Stellar Blade. I know some people are gonna be pretty upset about this because a lot of people really did like this game. I don't know if it's for the actual game itself or some other reasons. I only became aware of this game from State of Play 2024. I only got it for the memes going around at the time because of Eve's interesting design. I honestly wasn't expecting much from the game, and I barely knew anything about it going into it. I was honestly surprised at how much I ended up enjoying myself with the game. The gameplay is actually pretty decent. It takes inspiration from Souls type, but it also makes it kind of like hack and slash like, if that makes any sense. As someone who doesn't even play Souls games like that, I actually kind of enjoyed the gameplay. There were moments where I wanted to throw my TV at the wall, but overall, it's not too bad. I like the build diversity in the game. The game's music is actually pretty good. Not one of my favorite soundtracks of the year, but I enjoyed it. I liked how customizable they made Eve in the game. All the different outfits in game was awesome, and they could satisfy anybody's fetish they have for Eve, so that's something. In my review of the game, I said I liked the way they took inspiration from Nier, one of my favorite games of all time. But thinking back on it, I feel like they took a little too much from Nier. I still think they did a decent job of doing their own thing, but the more I thought about it, it's like the more I liked the game a little less, because it was just like I kept seeing like, yeah, this is like from Nier, and like I can see where this is going. The story itself isn't the greatest for me. It's not a bad story, but it's so predictable, and it wasn't like fleshed out enough. Other than Eve, the characters in the game don't get enough to do, and the main villains are pretty bad, in my opinion. I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending portion either, but overall, the game was fine. I don't think I will ever go back to it because I'm not into Souls-like, and there's a lot of missed potential with some aspects of the game, but it's not bad. But god damn, the fan base is so down bad for Eve. It's insane the amount of loot shit I've seen since photo mode drop. Holy shit. Coming in at number 9 is Withering Waves. If you guys remember from last year's video, when I spoke about Honkai, I said I liked Genshin and those types of games. I think they can be fun, but I'm not too crazy about them. I'll play them every once in a while and like really get back into it, or like once a cool update drops, and then I'll just stop playing for a little bit. So when I found out Withering Waves was basically like Genshin, I was interested. I started playing it for a bit, and I did get a little hooked. It is pretty similar to Genshin, but it does its own thing. I think the gameplay, while being similar to Genshin, is still fun and fast-paced. It's more like Nier Automata or Bayonetta, and I enjoyed it for that. The amount I did play, I found to be pretty fun. The echo system is really badass, and I like trying to farm for a good roll on certain echoes. But with this being gacha, I had to restrain myself from going into that deep, dark, filthy rabbit hole of the
gacha addiction.
In my experience with the game, the rates of characters in Gear were a little generous compared to other gachas I've played. Speaking of characters, all of them were unique and fun to play. I didn't put too much time into it, but the amount I did play, it was fun. Hopefully, I'll play more of it eventually. Coming in at number 8 is Power World. I was interested in this game based off the concept alone. Pokemon with guns? Hell yeah! The game was surprisingly fun though. I thought it was gonna be just like a game that's like made for memes and pretty low quality, but it was actually fun. It's like an open world survival game with off-brand Pokemon. I was playing this with my uncles, and we had a really good time like going out trying to catch different pals and like take down the bosses of the game, and like expanding your base was always satisfying to do. Having your pals being slaves is actually kind of funny. That was kind of fucked up. Just seeing your pals packing heat was just so funny to me. I was also kind of getting addicted to this game after a while. One of the issues I had was that it was pretty buggy for me when I played it. I don't know if they patched the bugs out or anything, because I haven't played in a while and I haven't played any updates. But overall, a surprisingly good survival game with off-brand Pokemon. Coming in at number 7 is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. This is actually the last game I played this year, so like I'm pretty fresh on it. This game flew under my radar when it dropped. I only found out this game existed because it went on sale on Steam, and I was like, this anime game was pretty cool. I didn't end up getting it till like late November because there was a deal going on Amazon. I'm like, screw it. I never played the Grand Blue series, so this was my first exposure to it. I thought this game was pretty fun in terms of gameplay and bosses. I think the bosses in this game was fucking awesome, honestly. Most of them are really badass and require like strategy to take them down, and each character in here feels unique and play differently from one another. I love the way the game allows for different team setups and combinations depending on what's your play style. It's like gacha, but not gacha, if that made sense. You can unlock other characters in game and build them up, but you don't have to put in a crazy amount of grind or spend money trying to unlock the one you want. I will say the game is at its best during endgame. I say this because I think the story is maybe because I just haven't played the other games, but I just wasn't too invested in the story. Mainly because most of the time I didn't understand what the hell was going on. Endgame is when you unlock a lot of things that wasn't in the story, and it becomes really fun, like doing that grind and fighting all those enemies. Also, the music is pretty good. Some of the boss themes are really good. Overall, I found it to be fun when it came down to unlocking characters and fighting the bosses, but story just for me. Coming in at number 6 is Silent Hill 2 Remake. This game was was a huge surprise to everybody when it came out. Nobody had faith in this game whatsoever and thought Blooper Team was gonna fumble with this one, but it was fucking amazing. I only played the original Silent Hill 2 once years ago, and I didn't remember much about it, so this was like my first real time getting into Silent Hill, and holy balls, was it good. This game's atmosphere is perfect. You always feel like you're on edge and like uneasy, and it's like that the entire game. This game is legit terrifying. Like, the game's monsters are amazing. They are creepy and horrifying, and most of the time they just like come out of nowhere and scare the shit out of you. It's especially horrifying when there's like more than one in a room. Like, holy fuck. Pyramid Head being the standout due to how badass he is and how rarely you see him and what he symbolizes in the game. With the game being a survival horror game, you have to be very careful not to waste your resources because there's only a certain amount in the game, so you gotta be careful and like pick your fights carefully. The story and themes of this game is really good. I loved how fucked up this game can get with the themes and how it can fuck with you mentally. The amount of like theories and different interpretations that come out of this game is like insane. And I forgot to mention this in my review of the game, but the music is pretty good. The main negative I have with the game is the stuttering issues. It can get pretty bad sometimes and it is annoying, but overall this game was a massive surprise and I enjoyed it so much. Now we get to the top 5 of the list. Coming in at number 5 is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. As a huge lifelong Dragon Ball fan, I was super excited for this game. Even as someone who isn't into fighting games, I had a blast with this game. The insane roster of over 180 characters is amazing. Each of them have their own movesets and abilities, and it's awesome. They even pulled moves from the manga, which is fucking amazing. The attention to detail is awesome, and it shows like how much love and care went into this game. Fighting against people is really fun. I spent most of my playtime fighting against my friends, and we had a blast. And it led to a lot of funny moments. Oh, point fucking blank. What? That is some bullshit! Alright, fuck you, dickhead! That didn't even last 10 fucking seconds, god damn it! You bitch! No! Why? As soon as I use a fucking ability, you cock!
Are you trying to fuck though?
You trying to fuck? No! No! No!
Dad! Dad, no! Dad!
You're really strong.
Yeah, I am.
Anyone else I've met in a long time.
I love how he's talking underwater.
I have a strong coochie.
I mean, it is Android 18. The what if storylines are so cool and badass. Most Dragon Ball fans would love these what if scenarios. The custom battles are extremely badass and cool. Like, there were some really cool ones, like both Gogetas fighting, and there's some just really random and funny ones. The main thing I don't like is the way the cutscenes are in the game. The way they handle them feel lazy to me, but overall this is an amazing fighting game that brought back an awesome series, and it should have won best fighting game of the year. God damn it. Coming in at number 4 is Sonic X Shadow Generations. Of course this was going to be high up on the list. All of you guys know how much I love Sonic at this point. When this was announced, I was extremely hyped for it. Sonic Generations is one of the best Sonic games, and I was glad it was getting a remaster, but the Shadow portion was completely out of nowhere. Quickly on the Sonic Generations part of the game, I think the remaster is really good. The game is still extremely fun to play. They now added infinite lives to the game, and they changed the controls to be more like Frontiers. There was an option to go back to the OG controls, which is what I ended up doing. The game runs very smoothly and rarely stutters. The only thing I was mixed on was the new dub of the game. Some scenes don't hit as hard as the original, and some just make the scene make no sense, but overall a really good remaster. Shadow Generations is the main appeal here. The stages for Shadow are some of the best of the franchise. There are so so fun to go through and encourage multiple playthroughs due to the many different pathways and what skips you can do with chaos control and the doom powers. He feels so good to control, and his chaos control and doom powers are fucking amazing to use. The bosses were all fun to take down and unique. The music is amazing as usual. Like, it wouldn't be a Sonic game without good music. The white space open area is awesome too, filled with Easter eggs of the franchise. And the new DLC movie pack is pretty good too. Like, the new stage is really good, and Shadow's model looks incredible. And hearing Keanu Reeves voice him is just so awesome, and it makes me even more excited for the movie. This game is just amazing. It has a really good remaster of one of the best Sonic games, and Shadow Generations is one of the best Sonic games. Us Sonic fans are eating really good this year, and I can't wait for the movie. I am so hyped. Coming in at number 3 is Metaphor ReFantazio. I was so interested in this game when it was revealed. I love Persona, and having it be like a fantasy-like version of it, I was sold immediately. The game has an amazing story and characters. I love going through every character's social link, seeing how the events of the games unfold. The themes of racism, inequality, and religious extremism was handled really good in this game. This game is very apparent with its themes, and it shows like how fucked up the world is in this game, but it isn't like obnoxious. Like, the game won best narrative for a reason. Like, the game's story is like really good. The characters all had amazing art, and I love their growth. Like, I love spending time with all of them. Luis is an amazing villain. He was always like ahead of you, and I love how blunt and confident he was. The way they were able to expand upon the ideas of Persona is fantastic. Like, the archetype system that allows for different builds and team setups is amazing. The gameplay extremely good. The turn-based battles are extremely fun and challenging. Like, the formation system is such a cool addition to the turn-based battles. Like, the bosses are really good and almost like puzzles in a way. Dungeon crawling is amazing. I don't hear enough people talking about this, but being able to one-shot weak opponents without having to do a full-fledged battle is such a good feature that keeps the game going at a fast pace. The soundtrack is fucking amazing. Easily top 3 of the year. So many amazing tracks from this game. I did forget to mention in my review, some of the optional dungeons, especially in your endgame, can be pretty repetitive, and sometimes the pacing can be a little too slow. But Metaphor ReFantazio is a fantastic game from Atlas. All of the awards it won was 100% deserved. Coming in at number 2 is Persona 3 Reload. I know some people might be upset that I put Persona 3 Reload over Metaphor, but this game was so good that it was almost my number 1. The more I think about the game, like, the more I love it. I've never played the original Persona 3. For the longest time, the only Persona game I've played was Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal. I always wanted to get into this series after Persona 5 because I just love Persona 5 that much, but I never did. But after playing this game, I am pissed at myself for not playing the original. The story and characters are so fucking good in this game. Honestly, one of the best stories in any video game I've played. It's that good. The themes of death and depression and how each of the characters handles it, it's so good. Like, the way they handle it. The main party, C's, is one of the best parties in any JRPG. I love all of their arcs and growth throughout the entire game. The ending to this game, perfect. It's so bittersweet, and it's like a perfect send-off to this story. This game's music is so damn good, dude. This is certain to become one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. It's that good. The gameplay is really good too. I loved making my way up to Tartarus. The Persona turn-based system is just amazing. I always love making Personas. I love the theurgy system, and some of the theurgies in this game are OP as shit. The mixed elements I had were that I wish we had more of Aragati and Strega. Aragati is such a good character in the game, but I wish we had more of him. And also with Strega, like, they were good, but they just didn't get enough screen time. Also, this game is weird with social links. It has some of the best social links in the series, but they also have some of the worst. Looking at you, you asshole. The Answer DLC is an okay addition to the game. I don't think it's needed for this story, and it can be a drag to get through. This game just really hits for me. Don't get me wrong, Metaphor ReFantazio is amazing. And it has better gameplay than Persona 3 Reload, but the story, the characters, the music, it just hits so much harder for me, and that's why I prefer it over Metaphor. But coming in at number 1 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This was my most anticipated game of the year, and I am so glad with what they ended up giving us. The original game is one of my favorite games of all time, and I love the remake, but this, man, holy fuck. This game is damn near perfect. The gameplay is the best of the year in my opinion. They took the combat from Remake and made it infinitely better. Each character feels unique and fun to control, and the combat system just still blows my mind. Like the fact that they were able to take the turn-based strategy combat from the original and also have it be more action-like Kingdom Hearts. It's fucking awesome. The bosses are extremely good and actually more difficult than Remake. I love the freedom of the materia system that allows for a lot of different builds. The story is extremely good, and there were so many moments where I got so nostalgic while playing it. I even love the new story changes that they took with the ending, and I'm extremely hyped for how things are gonna go for part 3. The characters are all fucking amazing. The world in this game is amazing too. There's so much things to do in this game. This game has fantastic music. I am so glad this game got best soundtrack of the year because it is amazing. And when is it coming to Spotify? What the hell? The only main negative I have with the game is Glenn. They pulled a Kingdom Hearts move and made a character from a mobile game important in the story and expected everybody to just know who he is. What the hell? Other than that, this game is amazing. And I'm also really hyped for it to come to PC next year so I can re-experience this damn game. That's why it's my personal game of the year. Well, that's all the games I played in 2024. I hope you guys aren't too pissed off at my rankings. This year was an okay year for gaming. For me personally, the year started off good with Final Fantasy and Persona. Up until October, it was just kind of mid in my opinion. But what did you guys think? Do you think 2024 was a good year for gaming? What was your game of the year of 2024? Let me know down in the comments down below. And also, I just want to say thank you guys for watching and subscribing and just being here. You guys are awesome. I have a Twitch account, so eventually next year I want to start streaming. So if you guys are interested in that, my link to my Twitch is down in the description. So whenever I do start streaming, it's gonna be right there. That's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.